know Sarah Bireta should be joining us very, very shortly, and we start off this discussion. Sarah is not yet here, but I'll just, for now, hand over my colleague Tendo to begin giving us some perspective, and then we delve into this discussion right now. And over to you.
Thank you so much, Simon. I hope everyone can hear me clearly. You're all very welcome to today's discussion, where we're going to be reflecting and taking stock of what has been going on in the area of the women and their rights during the lockdown. A lot has been happening, and I think the people that we have on today's panel, we consider them as very, very key people and very important people that have actually had experience as leaders. And I think most of them, we look at them as mothers, so to say, in different capacities through their political careers. And I think today we're going to be seeing, as women, how has the lockdown affected us as leaders? What can be done? How can we rally the women to stand up for their rights in times such as the pandemic? Thank you very much. As we wait for other panelists to join us, and for other people to join us, I think I'm going to start by asking Dr. Lina to. We are all going to introduce ourselves. I'm going to start with Dr. Lina. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Tim. Thank you, Simon, and our moderator today also. Thank you, my sister. I greet you so much, Honorable Salam Musumba. I see you battered so much by the COVID, militarized COVID. I see you indeed, I agree entirely. We need a new way of recovery from this shock waves. My name is Lina Zedriga Waru Abuku. I am a practicing lawyer. I am a judicial officer on sabbatical. I am currently the vice president, National Unity Platform Party, in charge of Northern Uganda. And I'm very excited, Simon, much as it was at no notice, that you reached out to me to have this conversation. Thank you, and I look forward to very engaging 1.5 hours.
Thank you, Dr. Lina. Honorable Salam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, let me introduce myself. I am Proscovia Salam Musumba. I'm a social worker. I'm a politician and a social change agent. I'm the vice chairperson of the Forum for Democratic Change. I'm a founder member of Forum for Democratic Change. And I bring into so many facets of politics because I have served in parliament. I have also served in the local government. I work mostly with the persons, the communities, and my love is for policy formulation and for policy analysis. I love looking at the bigger picture, which I aggregate from the smaller picture where I live and the people I interact with. and the different facets that we have to look at in a holistic manner, the way COVID arrived, the way COVID has been managed and mismanaged, and the immediate mid-term and long-term effects of it on all those cohorts of the community. So I am glad to share with you and also learn from you.
Thank you so much.
Let us
Dr.
share.
Thank you. We are happy to have you. As we wait for Dr. Sarah Birete to join us, I think my colleague and I will introduce ourselves. I will start with myself. My name is Ann Tendo. I am a lawyer by profession, currently working as a policy analyst and advisor, and I'm happy to be Simon's co-host this morning. Thank you all for joining us. Simon?
Yeah, amazing. Thank you very much. And I think to all of you, our listeners, thank you so much, our panelists.
My name is Simon Senyonga. I am a lawyer training. I am a person who is interested, especially in good governance. I don't want to call myself an activist per se, but I pay very keen attention on how our nation is being run. In the recent past, January this year, I ran for youth
to represent the central region of this particular nation, the young people of the central region of Uganda. And from that, I learned very many things, and I'm hoping that this discussion can even help us propel the discussion further of issues that affect and matter in this nation. Now, Sarah will be joining us very shortly, but I want us to get into the discussion. And I want to begin from you, Dr. Lina Zedriga. You bring on board an experience as a social worker, as a person who has the grassroots experience of working with the women in this nation. What have you had around? How has the lockdown specifically affected?
There is too much echo. I'm not hearing you. Can you turn off those speakers or something? I'm not hearing you at all. There's so much echo, Simon.
Sorry,
kindly.
Dr. Lina, if you could only unmute
Dr. Lina, the Vice President of the National Unity Platform. Dr. Please unmute.
Yes, Simon, I am afraid I didn't get your question because there was so much echo. Could you kindly repeat that question? There is so much echo. I couldn't get your question at all. There is too much echo. Try to close either your speakers or something. I didn't follow your conversation at all.
Oh, sorry about that, Doctor. Can you hear me right now? Are you able to
yes.
hear me well now? All right, perfect. I hope the echoes are now out of that. All right, Dr. Lina, you can hear me very perfectly right now?
Yes, low, but at least I can get it. It's not clear, but I can get it. It's very, very low. Try to speak up, please.
All right, I'm going to make sure that I speak up loudly and you can hear me very well.
Okay.
Doctor, I just posed to you a question. As a woman who has worked with the grassroots, as a social political activist, and as a leader in the political party, you have shared experiences of women on the ground. How has this down specifically affected the women on the ground? What has been your experience?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. I just wish I had a better answer. But anyway, I bring a very battered greetings from northern Uganda. I traveled back, as you know, last night. Specifically, I was in Atiak and Elegu and also West Nile. Yes, the impact of COVID on women and girls, especially the lockdown, has been so brutal, so inhuman, so bad. I wish I could speak in my vernacular. I would explain the gravity of how women and girls have been affected. Studies have been done. We have turned into into very bad statistics in terms of how many girls got pregnant, others by their uncles, and then women battered, killed by their intimate partners. Women who could not access health facilities, those who are in the reproductive age, died. Women who died very close to me because they could not access. Women who were beaten in the villages in Arua, beaten by the military who are enforcing the COVID-19 lockdown. Women whose small income of about, let's say, about 5,000 per day. They are selling gobe, they are selling beans. They now lost that opportunity of livelihoods, totally, entirely. It is very grave, pathetic, inhuman. In fact, I don't know, it's best experienced. But unfortunately, we are going to be going with these women in statistics of people who either died or who were maimed. But mostly in this lockdown, the militarization, enforcement by the military, including rape, by the way, raping these women. It's like, you know, a very badly acted movie. Carrying away, snatching away the little beans or sim, scattering them on the ground. You know, what enforcement is this? So for us as women, especially the women of Northern Uganda, the COVID pandemic itself was not as bad as the lockdown and the militarization of the enforcement of the lockdown. In fact, we don't know how, but we are we will need to reclaim our dignity. We've lost it. We've lost our dignity in the lockdown. We've lost our identity in the lockdown. We have lost everything. We've lost even the generations of the children we gave birth to. 1, 2. Women who are in the medical field going with their duties, normal duties, going on with their normal duties, brutalized at a roadblock. I mean, this roadblock and the COVID enforcement went at its, I don't know where. So many roadblocks from here to my very many destinations. I counted over 150. What happens at these roadblocks, by the way? The monies, these business people have to either pay the money or the women are sexually assaulted. These are not concocted things. I have the records. I came back last night. So we used COVID, the country used COVID. Those who are governing us, not even having stolen our victory and so on, totally lost any human face to implementing the lockdown. That humanness, Ubuntu, we lost it. We are dealing, the implementation is like we are in a terrorist, you know, militarized enemy grounds. That is what I can say for now. So that means the impact is so bad. We are losing, and we have lost generations. We have lost our dignity. We have lost our humanness. Women have been the face of this brutalized, militarized, monetized lockdown. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Dr. Lina. I just want to bring in Honorable Proscovia Salam Musumba. What has been your experience as a political leader, as one who moves on the ground? And recently you contested for member of parliament. So I'm sure you're in touch with your constituents or even beyond. What has been your experience from this lockdown?
There are many experiences. But at my age, I have seen Uganda better. Yeah. And Uganda working together as a community, Uganda thinking together as a country, and Uganda loving itself. Those things that I have good memories of are no longer part of the Uganda I describe in this meeting, and it's so sad. The lockdown was militarized, as Lina has said, because we have taken a military stance at everything. But the cure for militarism is humanism. So the responsibility falls back again on the women to flavor this society, to inject humanity in it. But those virtues are all very, they're not on the market anymore. They're not on the market, and we must search deep, hard, and long to recover our humanity. That responsibility will not fall on men, but it will fall on women, because that's our nature. But it finds us also hurting as a gender. We are hurting so badly because before lockdown, our place in society was fragile. Our voices were still fragile. We run the risk of getting muted. And how we sell this message to the people must be in a new package for us to be heard, for us to be understood, for us not to be written off, because we hold the software for society to function properly. We hold the social glue that keeps families together, people together. But before lockdown was implemented, already politics had torn us apart. Politics had hurt the family, the society, the community, and there's so much repair to be done for us to talk normal. The women, of course, by the way society is structured, the women bear the brunt of everything that gets out of sync. And so the women will continue to suffer. We are suffering with the men because the men are our men. They are our brothers, they are our husbands, they are our children. The children depends on which stage they are. Now, there's this group that Zedriga whipped into action that you can't whip back into normality. The youth who think that society is only made of young people. A normal society must have all cohorts of the population. And so for us to heal all those distortions and reorient society is the biggest challenge I see. But you know, this Uganda we are in and the political parties we serve, they know more about they deal more with the hardware. But the hardware is not as badly damaged as the software. Who are we? What are we? And what should we be? Women have lost their identity because they don't know whether they want to be men or they want to be youth or they want to be what. We need to redefine ourselves. And we need to go back to the basics. Who are we? And what purpose do we serve in a normal society? Before we too get militarized and concretize that mentality of a loud woman, of a vicious woman, of a hard woman. People are looking for some love. That's why at the beginning I was telling this panel that, you know, I feel so empty. I feel so shattered. This lockdown has really locked me out, locked me down, locked me in. And so we must demand from ourselves first, because you can't give what you don't have. We must demand from ourselves. How do we get out of this before we help others to heal? The effects of COVID are larger than the statistics we are rolling out. They are personal. Yeah. You can imagine somebody seated at home, month on, month in, month end, without knowing, okay, we've been locked down, then what? What's going to happen next? How do we pick ourselves up? Even the leaders themselves are confused. They don't know what they're dealing with. They are not dealing with a vaccine. They don't know even how they'll administer that vaccine. They don't know what the new normal is, because they've hyped the new normal far too long that they've not worked it out. What is the working space going to be like? What is the development model that we are going to pursue? Are we going back into our old self? Is that the new normal they are talking about? Because this COVID is not going away yet. But how are we going to deal? The health sector, how are we going to deal with it? The education sector, the transport sector. We don't have any of our leaders. None is thinking. They are not thinking. Guys, don't be there and think that there's any think tank that has been put in place. This COVID task force is a day-to-day foodist. How much has come in, how much is leaving. We are in a very shabby place. And I hope that we will continue to talk and heal our society, because we have nothing else except us to deal with the problem.
Wow, thank you very much, Honorable Proskovia. And right now, I just want to get Sarah. Sarah is Executive Director of the Center for Constitutional Governance. Sarah, I just want to give you some time to introduce yourself, but also I want to get your take. You are the people who deal with the constitutional governance of this country. You have researched, you have published, you have spoken. What has been your experience, especially in this particular lockdown? Sarah, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Simon, and good morning, fellow panelists and members on the call. I am Sarah Birete, a lawyer and activist and the Executive Director, Center for Constitutional Governance. I will go straight on the lockdown shabbiness. Oh, it's not just lockdown shabbiness. Let's call it COVID shabbiness that we have experienced as a country. During the first phase, because of the early lockdown and the high-handedness, where people had interest in controlling the political environment and context, there was a semblance of a political leadership that was interested in controlling the pandemic. But as I think it has now been clear that the interest then was political. It was not Medicare or heads of the people. So when the second wave, when we finished the elections, which were the interest, our team that was posturing to control the pandemic went to sleep and dropped the ball, including the head of the task force joining politics and violating the SOPs she had put, and we all know all that history. So COVID served the political purpose of suffocating the alternative political views and the political agenda of this country. When the second wave hit, I think it was even extremely embarrassing to know that even in the budget, other than the 500 billion for vaccines, COVID was taken as a footnote, as a possible risk to disrupt the budget. And that explained the lack of oxygen, the lack of medicines, and all the shabbiness that we witnessed. The climax of the shabbiness was the manner in which schools were closed. Yes, schools had committed a crime of conspiracy by concealing the number of infections of students, but the Ministry of Health, which was supposed to do surveillance of schools in the easing of lockdown, had not done any surveillance. And then through panic, then the president sent children home and caused the spread of COVID in every home and in every district in Uganda because of the manner in which schools were closed. That all demonstrates the shabbiness.
And then came the accountability issues, which are very embarrassing, people benefiting in a pandemic. The people that we thought were on top of the agenda at the ministry appear to be more shabby and disappointing every day, including tabling demands for taxes on vehicles through money contributed by Ugandans. When the priority is known, it should be vaccines and medicines and treatment and testing. I just left Nairobi yesterday and I want to draw lessons from Nairobi. And I'm not saying Kenya is managing the pandemic better, but I want to use a scenario of a country that would be seeking to control infant and maternal mortality by making women sterile. So you make sure no woman can give birth or can get pregnant, and then you go on the table and celebrate how you have 0 infant mortality and 0 maternal mortality through sterilization of women. That's how I'm going to compare lockdown as being celebrated as a successful measure for mitigating COVID. Mitigating COVID means that people can go about their day-to-day lives, but you are also supposed to curb the infection rate and be able to treat and save lives and livelihoods of the people as they go about their lives. You don't bring their lives to a halt and then think that you are controlling. That is similar to sterilizing women to control infant and maternal mortality. And our leadership should know. In Nairobi, schools are open. All kids, including nursery school, go to school. In Nairobi, bars open up to 7. All businesses open and work up to 7. Hotels work up to 9 in case of non-residents, and the curfew starts at 10. But another example I saw is through the testing measures they use, the effectiveness in the testing and treatment of COVID. In Nairobi, you cannot get the 4 or 2 hour result testing that we have here. Yet Nairobi has advanced medical facilities. We all know that everybody here, the VIPs, run to Nairobi for treatment. We were shocked to know that the earliest you can get a test result in Nairobi is 20 hours and not 4. And they do not do one test. They do both mouth and nose samples for a PCR test. That shows you the levels of efficiency that they do. For airport travel, you must get an electronic code that comes into the system and everybody is able to scan it. Many people in Uganda here have forged results of COVID. We saw countries where we have been blacklisted because of forged results, including the UK and the United Arab Emirates. So that shows you also failure to control even things that are determined by science. Every airport is supposed to use that electronic system called the PanoBios or biodata through that PPT code. But our airport, because of corruption, is not using it. And that's how infected people come in the country or infected people leave the country. Many people have testified having been given false results by different labs. You test, this lab tells you are positive, the next lab tells you are negative. You don't even know what to believe. So how are we managing the pandemic? The level of shabbiness. Let's go to the budget priorities after the second wave. After the second wave hitting us and knowing that there was no money for COVID in the budget, what was expected of a normal political leadership is to recall the budget for half quarter, limit expenditures to necessities, and divert the money to address the pandemic. That would avail money for vaccination. It would avail money for testing and treatment of all the affected people. We have all seen the crisis in hospitals, no oxygen, no medicines. Even in government hospitals, they write for you to buy from pharmacies. And the priorities of the political leadership are somewhere else. Ministers are fighting for cars. MPs are getting cars. People wanting new carpets and chairs in their offices. And this is a team that we expect to deliver us from the pandemic. Do we have any plan out of lockdown? Whereas lockdown is an important measure for controlling spread at the spike of infections. It is a temporary measure that should be used toward the rate of infections as you plan better on how to mitigate the level of the pandemic. But is any Ugandan aware of the plans that are being made? During the health summit, when the president took on India for having withheld vaccines, we did mention that there was an African facility, the African Vaccines Acquisition Team, that are helping all other African countries to receive gradual vaccination to ensure that they meet quotas for their eligible categories. Our teams here had not even known about that facility. It is only recently that they are talking about it as if they've made a new discovery. When African countries started acquiring these vaccines as early as last year, and some countries have finished vaccinating or they have enough vaccination for their eligible categories. We are supposed to vaccinate up to 22 million. We are still at 1 million. When are we going to cover the 21 million? Where is the money? What is the plan? We all know, as much as there is a Delta wave that is affecting countries that had achieved vaccination of up to 60 or 70% of their categories of the population, we all know that the only way out of this pandemic and achieving a bit of our normal lives is through vaccination. The second measure is timely testing and treatment. And the third measure is saving livelihoods of the people. On vaccination, we are at 1 million versus 22 million. On relief food, we saw the failure even to identify the members of the vulnerable. Later, the people that were identified, the majority of the people who received money were not qualified to receive it. But even those who were listed to receive the money have not received it. And then you have a population of 8.3 million people in poverty, but you are identifying 510 as vulnerable. And you have your own justifications that do not make sense. So basically, people are on their own. On the front of testing and treatment and the returning lives to normal, I don't know what magic the president is going to announce. The schools are closed indefinitely. Children have lost 2 years of study. There is increasing domestic violence in people's homes. When women say there is no food to eat, it is a source of battle. Men have nothing to do as well. We have many people out of work. In the first lockdown alone, the service and the industry sector in Kampala that employ 80% of the people had reductions in employment of up to 60%, according to UBO's released data in April this year. So how many people are going to lose jobs in this current lockdown, especially in the service and industry sector? How many people are on half pay during lockdown as I finalize? But as I conclude, I do not see any tangible plan by this leadership on managing this pandemic in this country.
I can't hear anybody.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear.
All right. I was just getting to Dr. Lina Zedriga, and my question to you was in regards to the experience that Sarah has shared with us from Kenya. And I was saying that Kenya rolled out a successful cash transfer program. In Uganda, we had a cash transfer program, which was having challenges with identifying the vulnerable. I think there was a conflict that arose at the parliamentary COVID-19 task force where the health officials appeared and the UBOS officials appeared, and the UBOS officials said they don't know the data that the Prime Minister's office was relying on. Dr. Lina, the question specific to you is this. Do you think this specific cash transfer program that was being used as a relief measure in the COVID-19 actually affected the women by discriminating them? Dr. Lina, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Simon, and thank you so much, Council Sarah Birete, and welcome back. Well, for me, it's not about what I think. It's about the whole transactional way of handling human beings. What my sister, Honorable Salam Musumba said, the software, the soft power. The focus here on the money or the cash transfer totally was not on human beings. You have seen it. It's not my thinking. It is how transactional and how dirty the whole process has been. A number of people registered I think I know. I don't know any of them who has ever received that money. But in any case, the way in which that cash transfer was organized, was anybody, whichever level involved? No. We had a meeting of women in leadership 3 weeks ago when the enlisting was happening and so on. From the onset, the LCs were not involved anywhere in the process of the recruitment for this cash bonanza, you know, for this. And then the whole thing was conceived very wrong. It was very transactional. I cannot help to bring that. If it was transformational, it would have been delivered in a consultative manner through institutions. We have institutions, the right institutions from the LCs, everybody, every institution was left out. In any case, these institutions, mainstream also, most of them have failed, okay? So it was deliberate, in my view. It was just meant, you can see many of the end results in terms of the buildings that are coming out and people, there's no smoke without fire. Those are Twin Towers and whoever towers and whoever. So it was failed, it has failed, and it totally was about working with the stomach. And whatever goes in the stomach goes to the toilet. We failed and failed and failed our people, okay? So to me, Simon, it's like, you know, my mother used to, I mean, it was telling me something that those days, you do not ask obvious questions. When you see this young bride is vomiting, this young bride is standing and the stomach is growing, you do not ask her, are you pregnant or are you a virgin? You just know. So right now, that question you're asking me is actually going towards that. And you know, the militarization, the monetization just was deliberately to continue to benefit very few people. The Prime Minister has cried out about the mafia. That is not a lie. They have actually now come out very exposed with the claws and they no longer care. They no longer care. That cash bonanza never, first of all, was supposed to reach any human being outside those circles of. It's yet another shame. However, linking it now directly to where these monies are borrowed, IMF, that have decided to join the government, the mafia. These people actually are heartless. There's a joke on social media that a doctor having done an operation on a patient, and then that operation was supposed to be for the heart, and then after in the post-operation, he went to the patient and said, might you by any reason be a lawyer? He said no. Might you by any reason be, any incident be a politician in the government? He said yes. He said, why do you ask it? He said, in that operation, we didn't get your heart. So to that extent of mere there's a satire that people do not have the hearts. They don't. Therefore, I want to agree with Honorable Salim Musumba that we need to move back to humanizing our country. We left it long time ago, and it is so dangerously bad that we have dehumanized a whole country. We have dehumanized not only the people, but even the structures and the organizations. It's now all about where is the cash, where is the money, what can I do? Even to the extent people are even abducting small children, young children in the villages to hide them in an anthill so that they can demand from the families 10,000. To the extent that a health worker in a hospital, because the spouse of this woman in Hoima cannot afford the 100,000 for that day, the health officer goes ahead and removes the oxygen because of 100,000. So it's a very systemic decay. And I think it is deliberate in my view, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. To the extent, even you as the people in the media, to come to cover anything, you will first have to say, some of them will say, how much are you paying me? The transactionalness. So the COVID situation, the cash bonanza, yet has exposed more a very rotten, failed state and failed system. It's just the tip of the iceberg. I want to agree also with my sister, Council Birete Sarah. Thank you so much for bringing that out. The way the schools were closed is directly linked to the way the bonanza, the cash bonanza is, where there was total frenzy, no consultation. It was such a mess, and there were deaths involved. Young kids unleashed in the streets and then unleashed back in the community. So the whole COVID thing, the evil thing, handling it on the failure to deliberately handle it with the human face is so glaring. So I do not know, I throw it back to you, Simon, you're a lawyer. I don't know if you survive it yourself, how you intend that we will need to do a transitional justice, something around it. Absolutely. This is massive. There's no cash going to anybody that at least I know, but I see where the transactional ends of this cash. Because if they were doing it in a nice manner, for example, the countries, some of the good examples where women were leaders, Germany, Philippines, among others. Are you hearing me? I see lights going off everywhere. There is Taiwan, New Zealand, Germany, where women with their hearts, not with their stomach, handle the response to COVID. But here, the few women that you see in the middle of the cash bonanza have totally been hijacked mentally and otherwise. Indeed, they fall in the category where we go for an operation and they have no heart. Yes, the cash bonanza, a total failure. Yet another coffin that Uganda's issues, governance has totally failed. And it is deliberate, by the way. And I want to also agree as I conclude with my sister, Honorable Salam Musumba. Women, it is incumbent upon us, women of Uganda, we must get out of our closets. We must get us out of our false comfort zones. We must join hands deliberately together, constructively and sustainably, and attempt to redeem the little left of this country we were once proud of. This country that we used to call the Pearl of Africa. And with us as the women, you know, during the Juba peace talks, what happened? 2005, 2006, women of Uganda, we came together. Salam, you were there in parliament. You were there, you supported us. We marched from Kampala, we marched up to Juba. We shook Uganda. We shook this man called Museveni. Indeed, I want to agree with you. Let's put that in practice.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lina.
Thank you, Dr. Lina. My question is going to go to Honorable Salam Mosomba. Given everything that has been said in this discussion, do you believe that the lockdown was a tailor-made solution to the situation in Uganda? I understand earlier on you said you had been mentally affected, and we have very many people that have been mentally affected. So do you think lockdown was a tailor-made solution for the situation in Uganda? And if not, what are those alternatives that you think could have worked for our community? What are those alternatives that you think should be considered moving forward to enable an upliftment in the social and economic well-being of different women across the country? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I want
Honorable
Honorable
Salam,
Salam,
we seem not to be hearing you very well.
to audit the situation we are in and be brutally honest about it. We coming is that you should hear me now. Are you able to hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, you're clear.
Well, I want to...
sorry, we seem to have lost Honorable Salam, but I know she will be joining us very shortly. And I know Anne must be having a special question to Sarah. I don't know whether she can shoot it now, even as we get Honorable Salam back. Let's do our best to get her back right now.
Okay, as we wait for Honorable to join us, Dr. Sarah, you mentioned a lot of things, and I wanted to know, do you believe that the policies in place during the lockdown are constitutional? And if not, what could be the way forward on that note? Because a lot has been mentioned about rights like education that have been affected. And we all know that the school dropout rate for the girls has always been high compared to the boys. And earlier on, Dr. Lina mentioned that it has increased further during the lockdown due to teenage pregnancies and early marriages in different areas of Uganda because people are trying to get money whichever way they can. So, Dr. Sarah, my question is, do you think the policies in place are constitutional given the effect they're having on different rights? And if not, what is the way forward?
Well, the regime has been managing the pandemic so far under the Public Health Act 1935, which is a draconian act produced during colonial era. In the first phase of the pandemic, the political leadership wanted to harvest political dividends from COVID by closing the political space, and they avoided the constitution under Article 110. So going under the constitution to manage an emergency would have created open stakeholder involvement and oversight function of parliament as provided for under the constitution. But using the Public Health Act created room where now the president passes decrees And what we have as COVID orders, COVID soaps are a form of decrees that are unconstitutional. The president has taken over the legislative role and the cabinet and usurped the functions of parliament on both legislation as well as oversight, especially under that political maneuver of the first phase. I see parliament trying to assert its powers under the second wave by attempting to supervise the management of the pandemic. But we saw an example of where Iraq was pulled off their feet, with the cabinet taking over the complete budgetary role of relief fund that was never approved by parliament. So we have this constitutional dilemma of executive usurping the functions of parliament and the no inclusive stakeholder involvement in the management of the pandemic, even in the second phase. Away from the political maneuver, it is now a money issue. I have just finished a dialogue with young people and I asked them a question of whether there is any Ugandan political leader today whose word can be taken to the bank by young people. And they did not find any. If the president said today that I'm going to do this, how many Ugandans believe that he's going to do it? And if as a fountain of honor cannot give citizens confidence of taking his word to the bank, then why is the legitimacy? If anybody knows any political leader on this call whose word can be taken to the bank, I challenge you to name them. I rest my case.
Thank you, Dr. Sarah. I don't know if Honorable Salami is back.
No.
No. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Dr.
Dr.
Lina, a challenge has been posed by Sarah here. And she says the place of the women, even in the politics, let's expand it that way. The place of the women, even in the politics right now. After 1995, we saw a very great move of the women saying that now we are liberated, now we have places of authority, and you've kept on saying that we have women who are in these key positions: the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Health, the Minister of Health herself. Do you think you as a political leader, we can still take the women in politics, women in political leadership? Can we count on their word to be people who will say they are the women on the grassroots?
Thank you so much. Well, absolutely, in terms of the women in politics and women in leadership, not only do I, now let me refrain it because something's right. From 1995, when we had the constitution and we had the women in leadership and many, and of course the Sarah Biretes, we of course in the NGOs were encouraging us and stuff. The constitutional provision was working on we were envisaging transformational leadership. We even had stood on the needles and said, for us women, we are coming with our hearts, not with our stomach. Right now, we also have evidence in terms of women who have joined the eating bonanza. So I want to say that women and being human beings and in a system where you're either boxed or manipulated or militarized to join, the operating system is so difficult. So I would like us now to qualify that in terms of the individual women. Some of them have real serious challenges, and I want to agree that some of them have crossed the line. And we're actually demanding, we even held a press conference as NUP women for these women, we're demanding these women to step down because of that. Yes, we are still holding ourselves as women very, very accountable. And indeed, a number of the women in the leadership, especially in the political spaces, Honorable Salam Musumba, who has been here, has stayed true to her word, by the way. I followed her. Yes, there are women out there who have given their words, and their politicians, they can be relied on. Yes, they are. Why is that so? Because we have people and women constituencies like Forum for Women Democracy, Center for Women for Constitutional Governance, that are perpetually whipping these women. Like for me, when there was that offer of the 5 billion on my head, you should have seen how the Saras called me. Lina, do not even think about going for that money. So there is a difference because we are each other's keepers. Yes, we watch and we speak and make demands for accountability, especially on issues of the women's agenda. We do. Yes, there are women out there and women constituencies and entities that have remained true. They are auditing, they are holding us accountable. They are also making sure that in terms of capacities, we are living up to the expectations of especially the voters. Yes, there are women doing this. And especially when we look at the Center for Constitutional Governance, we look at Forum for Women Democracy, we look at ACFOD, we look at, now even they've come as a constituency called Women in Governance. Yeah, because there's this one of the EDs, Perry Aritua. Yes. Women are holding each other accountable, not only even in the political spaces, the judiciary. We have the National Association of Women Judges who are holding each other accountable and auditing their trails. We have FIDA who are also auditing the women lawyers. That's why in the different spheres, women in Uganda are trying within this very hostile environment, monetized transactional environment, where it is a life or death if you do not, listen to the phone call and take the money or take the position, and some of them have really paid for that. Yes, there are women who are staying true to that. And it is not only because of their individual capacities, but it is because of the constituency called the Women's Movement in Uganda. It is very strong. Honorable Miriam Atembes, the icon women that we look forward to. Yes, they are holding us to account. And they're saying, Lina, you do not owe this to yourself. You owe it to the next generation of women. If we spoiled this for other women, you would not have been there. So that is the difference, Simon, that we are talking about. Even the media women, under UMWA, they're auditing us, they're following us, that you must deliver. You are holding this in trust. Yes, women of Uganda are ensuring that we do not, as women in politics, fall in that trap of transactional, dirty, militarized, not keeping and being untrustworthy, but rather delivering transformationally to our words and keeping our words true and owing it in trust to the next generation.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Now I see Honorable Salam Musumba has joined us again. My colleague had a question to you, so you can pose it to you, then you can respond.
The question was to do with whether the lockdown was tailor-made for the community that we are in Uganda, and if not, what alternatives can we consider to improve on the socio-economic well-being of the women in our communities?
There are things we must understand. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can.
There are things we must understand that everything we are talking about, discussing, revolves around governance. The governance in all the spheres we are dealing with. But the hallmark of it is government. The state is the state function. The answer is a big, loud no. It's so dysfunctional. And I don't speak about, I don't say that because I'm in an opposition party, no. Because before I'm an opposition party member, I'm a Ugandan. And I'm interested in the health of Uganda as a state. Is the government functional? The answer is no. And ladies, let me share with you this. I was on a panel with Dr. Cheng in the first phase of COVID. I was part of the panel in Frontline. And I just gave it to her and said, look, you're a breath of fresh air to this. She has quickly transformed herself into foul air that I don't think she recognizes herself. What befell this lady? She got consumed in the web of corruption. And following from my many years of fighting against corruption, I have come to a conclusion that it's a deliberate tool for domination. There are groups of people in this country that are allowed to access public funds corruptly with the purpose of building the cabal, of building people who will control others, communities that are going to control others. And so this corruption is not accidental. It's calculated, it's plotted, it's planned, it is executed, it's covered. And when a country gets into that level of dysfunctionality, it begins to work against itself. So I am personally
Honorable, we seem to be losing you. I hope that she can get back. I just want us to get into the conclusion of our discussion today. And I want us to talk about the way forward. I believe this nation needs hope. This nation needs restoration. We have cried, we have cheered in moments of joy, but now we are in this lockdown. The president is addressing the nation today. I want to begin with you, Sarah. What are your expectations from the president as he addresses the nation today? And what would you want him to touch on specifically that affects the women out there? Sarah, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Simon. You know, the advantage with COVID is that it's a global pandemic. So nobody is going to sit here in Uganda and tell people lies of things that cannot work. It is not a propaganda game. We all know how other countries are managing. When you go to the IMF write-up on policy alternatives that have helped in mitigating COVID better, they have taken a sample space of 170 countries globally. They share what each country is doing, what they have benefited, what has worked, and what has not worked. There are three key issues that each country must do to get out of COVID pandemic. Priority number one is immunization. In the case of Uganda, we are depending on handouts. We have been told of orders for immunization, but unless you see them, the question of taking the leader's word to the bank comes into play. So unless those consignments come, we are now on handouts. This embassy has brought 170 doses. This embassy has brought 265 doses on a target population of 22 million. I saw the president saying he will, you know, at first he was saying he cannot open up the country until 5 million people are immunized. But what did he do in that direction as a political leader and chief executive officer of this country? There is no single paid up consignment that has arrived in this country. Even Parliament appropriated money in the first lockdown for immunization, and there is no accountability for that money. That is the first line of action. The second line of action is Timely testing and treatment. Timely mass testing and treatment of COVID. The minimum cost you need to get a PCR test in this country is 180,000. In a population of 8.3 million living below poverty, how many people can afford that luxury? There are antigen tests, yes, but antigen tests are nothing when it comes to confirmation and efficiency on treatment of COVID. How many hospitals are well equipped with personal protective gear for medical workers? We have lost up to 80 healthcare workers in the second wave of the pandemic. That's a big number on the population where healthcare are still not aligned to the required numbers per persons in this country. Doctors are saying they don't have protective gear. Countrywide, we have seen coverage of parliamentary tours. This is not propaganda. Hospitals are running out of oxygen. Hospitals don't have essential drugs. Hospitals in the districts have closed, where all health workers are infected of COVID. And they close and suspend for 1 month. We see these things in the media. That is a second important action, and where we do not want propaganda and stories, but statistics and figures of what is being done. The third important aspect is protecting livelihoods. A nation can only exist when you have citizens and you have income as a country. People are falling out of jobs. People are falling out of livelihoods. Even if they survive COVID, won't poverty kill them? Won't they die of other related causes by poverty? So how are you saving the nation and nationhood of the people? Those are the three things I need to hear from my president if he is in charge of this pandemic.
Wow, thank you very much. That was extremely passionate. Now, over to you, Honorable Proskovia. You are now back with us. I just want us to, we are concluding this discussion. The way forward, the president has hit with the nation today. What are the expectations? What should he say? What should he say to us as a nation? Honorable Proskovia, I'm hoping you are able to hear me very well. Well, as we get back to her, I just want us to get over to you, Dr. I want us to conclude this discussion. You've had Sarah's appeal. The line action we're supposed to be taking as a nation. I want to bring it down as the National Unity Platform, which will represent ably the way forward of the presidential address. What does it mean for the women in this nation? What should we expect? What should
you see this?
Yes. Now, for me, as the women of Uganda, now we are two. Can you first close one?
Sorry.
Can she wait?
Hello? You hear me? Yes, I am hearing
We
you.
are all speaking. I'm already on the. Me the first one. This pandemic response, it has been proven. Spiritual engagement is very critical. I demand all places of worship must immediately, all places, all churches, all mosques must.
Oh, so we seem to have lost Dr. Lina. I don't know whether she's able to get back to us very soon. But as she gets back, Honorable Proskovia, your parting shot, what do you expect from the presidential address today? And what does it mean for the women in this nation? Honorable Proskovia? really about that. I think as we get to have our two panelists back, I know that Sarah issued left us earlier. I know I have put you here for quite long. What could be your parting shot that word of hope to this nation, even as well?
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, now we can hear you.
Yes, I'm saying that we need to get remobilized. We need to get together as women under a neutral arm, not a political one. Let the civil society lead us into this, to remobilize every woman to understand that we are on our own and that we must be holding society together. Our turn to lead has come up inadvertently through this pandemic. The men have failed us. The educated women have failed us. It is the ordinary woman or anybody who still has the DNA of a woman, who understands that society is facing a real threat. We remobilize ourselves so that we can tell our women in the health sector that, look, let us do something beyond. Let's be the nightingales of this pandemic. Let the women of this country, including me, let us be the nightingales of the pandemic. That's all I can ask my fellow women. Because you see, when you lose a husband, it's you who is a widow. When you lose a child, when you lose a brother, this responsibility falls back on our shoulders. And I think we need to pick it up and run away with it. Leave these corrupt women in the ministries. They're just a disgrace to us. They have even nothing to offer their following men.
Wow, very spirited conclusion. Thank you very much, Honorable Salam Musumba. Sarah, any parting shot for us?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Sarah, are you able to hear me?
I think she's gone.
All right. Sarah,
Sorry, Simon?
yes, I was just asking your parting shot for us today, even as we get to the presidential address.
Yeah, Simon and Anne, I want to thank you for convening this important conversation. I want to thank my fellow panelists and the members on the call, the participants. My call to Ugandans is we should not give up on our country. Let's keep demanding, let's keep questioning, let's keep pushing. And even when everything else fails, let's do our best in our personal spaces because we have no other country to call our home. There is no nation that can exist just on geographical boundaries. A nation is composed of territorial integrity, people, and their national economies. And this is what is at stake under the COVID pandemic. I thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you so much. I'll just let my colleagues wrap up this discussion. Thank you so much, everybody who has joined us today, and I am hoping that we have learned a lot. We have gotten experiences, we have gotten new knowledge that can help us even move forward. So I'll let Anne conclude this discussion. Otherwise, thank you so much for being part of this. Anne?
Thank you, Simon. I just want to thank everyone that was able to join us this morning, and to also thank all our panelists that have been a part of today's conversation. I think we've had a lot we have taken away from. There's a lot to demand for: political accountability, economic accountability, and everything to do with the lockdown that has been happening, and also the need for CSOs and women in positions of leadership to join together and push for rights and solutions that are going to foster socio-economic well-being of the people. It has been an interesting discussion, and I hope you have learned a lot like I have. I have been Tendo Ann, and I was joined by Simon. Dr. Sarah Birete, Dr. Lina Zedriga, and Honorable Salam Mosomba. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much, everyone. I think the meeting has come to an end. I look forward to our next series. Today at 2 p.m. we shall be having a conversation with the president of the Uganda Law Society. We shall put in the spotlight the Uganda Law Society, and then subsequently to the academia. Otherwise, thank you so much for being a part of this. Keep on following the discussion on all our different social media platforms. On Facebook, the page is End Lockdown Now. The hashtag trending on Twitter is End Lockdown Now. Special thanks and regards to the Center for Constitutional Governance, the Forum for Democratic Change, and the National Unity Platform for giving us the time to be part of this platform. God bless you. See you next time.